Hello students, today our new topic is starting methods of our three-phase induction motor. So why do we need starting methods in the first place? Okay, so as you already know that our three-phase induction motor's operation is similar to the operation of our three-phase transformer. So whenever our three-phase transformer is supplied with normal voltage, normal supply voltage, okay, whenever our three-phase transformer is supplied with normal three-phase voltage, our primary of our three-phase transformer will draw some current, that is primary current. Okay, the value of our primary current in the case of transformer or stator current in the case of our induction machine is very high for a short period of time. That is the starting current of our three-phase induction motor or three-phase transformer. Whenever we are switching our machine onto a normal voltage line directly, our machine will draw high current at the time of starting. This is my starting current. This starting current is very large for short period of time. Okay, this very high current is drawn from the supply to our machine, which is also possible in DC motors also. Okay, this is also possible in DC motors also. So because there is no back EMF EB at the time of starting, so what will be the current IST? Because there is no opposing voltage for our supply voltage, so our starting current will be equal to our supply voltage by our stator resistance. Okay, so you can see the voltage is phase voltage 430 by root 3 and resistance is in the order of 0.3 to 0.5 range. Okay, so what will be the current? It will be very high. That means our starting current of our machine is 5 to 7 times of full load current. Okay, the starting current in the induction machine is around 5 to 7 times the full load current, but the starting torque TST is in the order of 1.5 to 2.5 times our full load torque. Okay, so this is the thing. Okay, whenever this much of current flows through this line, okay, if my, let us say our full load current is around 5 amperes. Okay, our full load current when switched on, when the machine is running at rated speed is 5 amperes. If my starting current is, let us say, 5 times our full load current, what will be the starting current value? That will be around 5 times full load current 5, that will be 25 amperes. Okay, this winding is supposed to carry 5 amperes only, but it is carrying 25 amperes at the starting. Okay, whenever 25 amperes of current per phase is traveling through the supply lines, there will be huge voltage drop in the line also. Okay, not only for the induction machine, the high current will damage, that means the high current will consume more voltage drop in the supply lines, which will affect the other electrical components connected to our supply line. Okay, if our machine drawing more current, our supply lines is consuming more voltage drop, that will affect the voltage supply to other electrical machines connected to the same line. Okay, so we have to limit the starting current. Okay, these are the disadvantages because of we are directly turning on the machine onto our line voltage. So we have to limit this current for machines having rating 25 kilowatts to 40 kilowatts. For machines having the power rating 25 kilowatts to 40 kilowatts, the starting must be limited, the starting current must be limited, and there must be some starting methods to control our starting current. So this is why we are going to need our starting methods of induction machine. Okay, let us see what will happen if our machine is directly turned on to our three-phase supply. So friends, let us see, whenever our three-phase machine, induction machine is directly connected to our three-phase supply, so what is happening to our starting torque with respect to our full load torque of our induction machine. So whenever we are giving the direct switching or line starting of our induction machine, so what will be happening to our starting torque with respect to full load torque? Let us see. So we know that our rotor input, okay, rotor input to our induction motor, rotor input power is equal to torque into our angular velocity. Okay, we know that. So because it can be written as 2 pi n times torque. Okay, because our speed of the machine is constant, I can make the whole expression into a constant, and I can write the rotor input as k times t. Okay, we have a relation between rotor input, okay, rotor copper loss, and gross mechanical power output. As what is the relation between rotor input, rotor copper loss, and gross mechanical power input? That is 1:1 minus. We have derived this relation in the previous classes. Okay, so I can write the rotor input power equal to rotor input power by rotor copper loss equal to 1 by s. Okay, I can write the rotor input power by rotor copper loss equal to 1 by s. So what will happen to our rotor input So rotor copper loss equal to S times my rotor input. Okay, rotor copper loss is S times. When I multiply this to that side, our rotor copper loss will be equal to S times rotor input. So what is the rotor copper loss here, which is 3 times I2 square rotor resistance. So this is my rotor copper loss, okay, which is equal to S times, what is the rotor input I have here? The rotor input is K times T. Okay, so I am making the constant terms to constant, that means our R2 is constant. Okay, once the winding of the rotor is fixed, the rotor resistance will be fixed, and our 3 is constant, K is constant. So our starting torque is proportional to my I2 square by S. Okay, these are the only components variable here, that means rotor current and slip are the only variable components. So I can replace the proportionality and I can place the constant. Okay, this is my starting torque, this is my torque at starting. So here my rotor current is proportional to my stator current. Okay, so I can replace my I2 with I1, that is torque equal to K times I1 square by S. Okay, so at starting we are dealing with starting method. So at starting our S of the machine is, slip of the machine is 1. So our starting torque PST will be equal to K times I1 square. Okay, this is for starting torque. So now let us see, IFL is a full load current. Let us say ISC is a full load current when applied normal voltage. Okay, so according to that relation, our TFL will be equal to K times my IFL whole square by SFL. According to this relation, I am writing TFL equal to K times I2 is replaced with IFL because it is full load torque, IFL square by SFL. If I make the ratio between our expression 1 and expression 2, what will happen? That will be IST by TST by TFL equal to, so you can cancel out the case here. So the relation will be IST by IFL, okay, whole square into SFL. Okay, and at the starting time our IST will be replaced with short circuit current, that is IST equal to ISC, which is short circuit current at the time of starting current. Okay, so I can replace it with ISC. Okay, so this is the relation between starting torque and full load torque when I apply the machine directly onto our line voltage. Okay, this is the relation between starting torque to full load torque when our induction machine is directly supplied onto 3-phase supply. So this is the most important relation, you need to remember this. Okay, so this is about whenever our induction machine directly turned onto our 3-phase AC supply. So here we have a small problem. So our starting current is 7 times full load current and full load slip is 40%, then what will be the ratio between starting torque to full load torque? This is the problem. So you can, because it is DOL, direct online starting, I can consider our relation between starting torque and full load torque as IST by IFL equal to my ISC short circuit current or starting current by full load current whole square into slip at full load, that means SFL. Okay, this is my expression when I turn on our machine directly onto our 3-phase AC supply. Okay, so I can substitute the values here. So ISC by IFL means ISC equal to 7 times IFL. Okay, then our ISC will be by IFL will be 7. The ISC by IFL ratio will be 7 times. So I am going to find out the relation between starting torque and full load torque by substituting the values of ISC by IFL is 7 here. So 7 whole square, and SFL is slip at full load, SFL is 40% here, so that will be 0.04. Okay, so I am going to multiply our SFL like this. So what will be the value? That will be around IST by IFL equal to 1.96. That means our starting torque is 1.96 times our full load torque of the machine. Okay, whenever our starting current is 7 times full load current, our starting torque is 1.96, that means almost equal to 2 times, almost our starting torque PST is almost equal to 2 times our torque at full load. Okay, our starting torque is double the value of full load torque. Okay, so because I have starting current in the order of 7 times of full load current, our starting torque is in the order of 2 times of full load torque. Okay, so this is the basic idea whenever we are going to turn on our 3-phase induction motor onto our 3-phase AC supply. Okay, let us see the starting methods of our 3-phase induction motor. Okay, because we are having 2 types of our 3-phase induction motor. Okay, we have 2 types of induction machines. One is squirrel cage induction motors, another is slip ring induction motors based on the rotor construction. Okay, when it comes to squirrel cage induction motor, our squirrel cage induction motor is not having any flexible rotor resistance. That means the rotor resistance of the squirrel cage induction motor is fixed once the construction of the machine is over. Okay, the rotor resistance R2 is fixed. Okay, R2 is fixed, it is not variable. Okay, we know that our starting torque is proportional to our rotor resistance. Okay, and you can limit the starting current whenever we have high resistance. Okay, so we can't change the rotor resistance of our squirrel cage induction motor. Okay, at the time of starting, we are going to apply reduced terminal voltage at the time of starting, so that we can get reduced starting current. Okay, this is the in case of squirrel cage induction motor. And we have another type of induction machine, that is slip ring induction motor. We are having a feasibility to change the rotor resistance here, so that we can apply the normal voltage, because we can change the rotor resistance by adding external resistance. Okay, our external resistance can be added in slip ring induction motor, so that our rotor resistance can be changed, which will reduce the starting current and improve the starting torque. Okay, so the only difference is our squirrel cage induction motor starting is done by applying reduced terminal voltage to stator supply. Okay, so this is the idea. So let us see the starting methods of our squirrel cage induction motor. Okay, so there are three types of basically there are three types of starting methods. One is primary resistors, that means we are going to connect resistors in the primary circuit at the time of starting. Okay, another is auto transformer or auto starter. Okay, this is the one of the regular used starters in our induction machines for agriculture motors. Okay, another is star delta starter. This is also used for a delta star connected, sorry, that means the stator, this is used for a delta connected stator of our induction motor, delta stator of induction motor. Our star delta starter is used for delta connected stator of induction machine. Okay, so these are the three basic types of starting methods of our three-phase induction motor. First one is primary resistors method, that means we are going to add resistors or reactors in the primary circuit, that means in the stator circuit, so that we can limit the starting current. Okay, the whole idea of our starting methods is to limit the starting current only. Okay, so by adding resistors in the stator, we are going to limit the starting current, and this auto transformer starting will reduce the starting voltage, okay, by some tapping ratio, so that it can reduce the starting current onto our stator circuit. And our star delta start circuit is also similar to auto transformer. Okay, it is going to apply reduced voltage to our stator supply. Okay, so that our starting current will be limited. Okay, so let us see one by one. And you know the slip ring induction motors starting method is rotor reverse start method, that means we are going to add external resistance, so that our starting current will reduce. Okay, so this is the only starting method of our slip ring induction motor. Okay, actually most of the machines are squirrel cage induction machines, that means the most of the motors in the public use are squirrel cage induction motors, because the running torque or running performance of our squirrel cage induction motor is more compared to our running performance of squirrel cage slip ring induction motor. That means the running performance of our squirrel cage induction motor is good or better compared to our slip ring induction motor, but the starting performance is good in slip ring induction motor when compared to squirrel cage motors. Okay, because running performance is important. Okay, starting is very short term. Okay, because running performance is important, the squirrel cage induction motor is variously used in the public motors application. Okay, so that is why we are going to focus on these starting methods compared to that one. Okay, so let us see one by one. So let us consider starting methods of our squirrel cage induction. So let us consider starting methods of our squirrel cage induction machine. The first one is primary resistors method. Okay, for that you can see here we are adding some resistors in the stator circuit, so that we can drop some voltage across the resistors, and the voltage applied across the stator winding will be somewhat reduced. That means we are going to reduce the voltage applied onto our stator circuit. Okay, by adding some resistors, these resistors will drop some voltage. So you can see the voltage between the before the resistors and the stator is voltage V, but after adding resistors there is some voltage drop consuming across the resistors. We are getting some voltage less than the initial voltage V across the stator terminal, so that our reduced voltage will cause reduced starting currents, so that we can limit the starting currents. Okay, so the whole idea is to apply, let us consider that the total voltage is 10 volts, the resistors will consume around 6 volts, let us say 6 volts is consumed across our resistor. So the voltage applied across the stator winding will be 4 volts only. Actually the normal voltage is 10 volts, but because of adding external resistors, our stator is consuming only 4 volts, so that these 4 volts will produce less starting current, that will limit the starting currents of our three-phase induction motor. So this is the starting method using primary resistors. That means our current, that means our stator current our starting current. Okay, our starting current is proportional to our voltage, starting supply voltage. Okay, but our starting torque is directly proportional to our supply voltage. You already know that. Okay, so if I have my starting current, that means if I reduce the starting voltage to x times V, our starting current will be x times our short circuit current. Okay, if I limit the voltage, our current will also be limited by same fraction because the relation is directly proportional. Okay, but the relation between starting torque and supply voltage is like this. IST is directly proportional to our supply voltage square. Okay, so because Vs is directly proportional to IST, okay, our starting torque is directly proportional to IST, which is nothing but x times, I can write it as VSC. I am replacing Vs with our starting torque. Okay, because Vs is directly proportional to Is. Okay, our starting torque will be equal to K times IST is nothing but x times ISC. Okay, so now our starting torque is equal to K times x square into ISC also. Okay, so what will be the full load current, full load torque? That will be K times IFL whole square by SFL. This was the relation we found earlier. Okay, TFL is K times IFL whole square by SFL. So whenever I am going to find out the starting torque with respect to full load torque, that will be equal to x square ISC by IFL whole square into SFL. Earlier we did not get this expression, okay, in a direct online starting, but with primary resistors, the relation between starting torque and full load torque is x square times ISC by IFL whole square into SFL. So this is the x is the percentage drop of voltage applied to stator because of our primary resistors. Okay, so whenever our x square is high, our starting current will be less. That means our x should be less than 1. Okay, then only our starting current will be, let us say it is x is 0.8, our starting current is 5 amperes. Okay, so let us see our starting current is 5 times around 4 amperes. Okay, our starting current is somewhat reduced from initial 5 amps. Okay, based on the x value, our starting current will be limited. Okay, the x value will be regulated by value of our resistors. If the resistors value is more voltage drop will be across resistors only. That means there will be less voltage available across the stator voltage. That will cause less starting current. Okay, so this is the important expression you need to remember. Okay, the starting torque to full load torque relation. So we are going to find out this ratio for every starting method. Okay, so that you can see how much is our starting current is affecting our starting torque with respect to full load torque is to be found. Okay.